Good evening and welcome to Obsessed Garage. This is my dedicated wash bay at my house here in Central Florida, and we're about to embark on a journey together in dialing in my newly acquired, new to me, 2013 BMW M3. This is Adam's wheel cleaner. For a really long time I was using Nexet ColorTech. I ran into issues getting it here, combined with lots of people really having a difficult time with the smell. I'm going to actually spice it up a little bit. I'm going to take some CarPro Iron X and I'm going to spray this on top of my wheel cleaner to really work on removing as much iron as possible. This is a Microfiber Madness Incredibrush, which fits nicely in the competition package BMW wheels. Thanks to the guy, the follower, who said, dude, you should start like washing your wheels at 12 o'clock when I was teaching Ryan how to wash. He said, then you would always remember where you started. So this is Adam's Tire and Rubber Cleaner. The other thing I would do is I would use a really heavy cleaner, something like stoners on here to remove any junk that might be on the tires in preparing them for CarPro Pearl application. I just spray some wheel cleaner on there. Let's take our wheel cleaning tool, clean up the tips a little bit. I do the cleaning of the inside of the tips just to hope to keep it from then building up. I found that if I tend to do that, it tends to stay cleaner longer. I have DI water on here now, so I'm able to like take my time, clean the engine bay, not worry about getting water spots everywhere. So step one, what I do with the engine bay is I'm gonna rinse it off. There's no battery up here. I don't wanna spray stuff directly on the belts, but there's nothing we really need to worry about covering. This is a modern car. So I'll just take a microfiber towel, just jam it in here. That'll keep the water from just soaking in there anyway. And we're gonna take deionized water, 900 PSI, and yes, I'm gonna wash the engine bay with a pressure washer. Okay, that should be all we need. I know this always creates controversy, gets people up in arms, but I promise you this is not gonna damage anything. I'm gonna take and spray some 2-to-1 diluted APC. We're gonna take my Race Glaze XL brush. I'm just gonna agitate some of the areas. It's not too bad. So I'm gonna be able to clean this up with very little agitation. You wouldn't wanna do it on a hot car, mainly because your APC can dry. Okay, now we got the surface clean. I've always thought of this as a particularly really nice looking engine bay. I have to get a new batch of this. But we mix this up. I mix this for a medium, or I'm sorry, a natural finish they call it. A satin finish is 3-to-1, a natural finish is 4-to-1. All right, make sure to beat me up a little bit in the comments here to get this stuff in the store. This is good on this whole area. Let's see what happens. I normally don't spray it on this part, but since this is a matte finish, this might actually make it stay a little cleaner longer. So what we'll do is we'll leave this. So this will stay as is. And no, just leave it like this and it'll dry to a nice satin looking finish, believe it or not. Next step in the decon process is to get the iron off the car. I'm interested to see. We won't be able to see it so great because this is a blue car, but I have CarPro Iron X. I have this in my store. This is a really smelly, nasty product, but this does the job. We can do it on the glass and on the paint. Yeah, we can already start to see it develop on the surface. And so the glass isn't as heavily contaminated, but I start on the glass. It's just become a habit. When you get a new, especially if you buy a new nanoskin auto scrub sponge from me, you're gonna want to break it in on the glass. Again, not a lot of pressure, just some speed, back and forth motions to get this is gonna stay. I like this a lot. BMW Performance, rear lip, so it's nice. Okay, so we're completely deconned. The car is done and ready for polishing. So now I'm gonna blow it off. We now have paint that's clean, contaminant free, ready to polish. Now it's time to start dialing in the paint. It sat out at night at my house in the wash bay. You know, it's covered, but it's still out in the elements. And then I drove it a mile over here. So step one is gonna be, I'm gonna take some compressed air. I'm gonna blow off, try to make sure that I get all the water, if there's any water left over, any of the cracks or crevices, and then blow the dust off, and then I'm gonna wipe it down with eraser, and then we're gonna work on taping. After we tape, we're gonna start working on test spots, and I'll show you the condition of the paint, and we'll start polishing away. All right, so get my compressed air system up and running. Grab my airline here. So to wipe the car down here, I'm going to be using a combination of the plush waffle weave, what Rag Company calls pluffle, and then what they call the Dry Me a River, which is the big drying towel. I'll probably end up using mostly this. So we don't need to soak the car down, but I am going to hit it with a little bit of product. So I want to tape anything in question, anything that I questionable or have a question that I wouldn't want to get polish on, or I'm not sure I want to get polish on. Let me walk you through all I taped, or all I chose to tape. So you saw me taping these. We taped BMW emblems front and rear. I taped the headlights. Headlights are important. If you hit that with a compound, you're going to compromise the UV, the top layer, and then you basically ruin their headlights, and you'll have to wet sand them, and they'll never be the same. I taped this honeycomb grill in the bottom here. I only taped the bottom of it. The top I'm not going to hit, because I'm not going to get all the way up into the edge there. I taped the intake ducts. I guess that one's an intake duct. This is whatever, just a fake duct. All the window seal, the rubber here. This really, you're not going to hurt the rubber. The expansion joint I didn't tape. I'm going to just try to avoid slopping all kinds of polish in there. I don't tape the taillights because I know I'm going to have to polish those. I'll avoid them with the compound. Tape the top of the exhaust, tape the other honeycomb, and that's the taping process. Last thing I taped was just the little edge here on the gill. That's the process of what I chose to tape on the car. So now next step is we're going to work on a test spot. So I'm going to figure out what looks best, what spot looks best, and we'll get started on figuring out how to correct this thing. Yep, I think this is going to be it. I'm going to start in the upper left-hand corner and work and redo this whole thing. And I'll be checking it along the way. I blow out my microfiber after every pass. So I'm gonna end up grabbing the 3-inch, work around here. Any chance I get to break out the pneumatic, I'm all for it. So since we're doing a little higher speed, 15 millimeter orbit in that concentrated area, I don't want to hold it there and make the whole 4 passes. Yes, got it. Yep, scratch is gone. Nice. Yeah, so this is a pretty aggressive spot here. We'll turn the lights back on. There's actually a lot of straight line. Looked like someone threw their bag up on the front of the hood or something like that. Just slid it. Still some deeper ones left. I don't know, I just feel like I can spot treat these better with the 3-inch. So we'll call that 1.5 worth of passes to get that out. Okay, glass. I want to hit this with some compound just to be safe. I mean, I don't know if there's a coating on here or if there's something on the glass, and I'm just using Just Car. It'll clean up any junk. It's not really going to remove any scratches or pitting or anything like that. It's mainly just to clean up the surface. So really just doing a deep cleaning with the compound here to the glass. So we'll do that to all the windows, windshield, side windows. All right, so here's what a typical BMW or any car's shadow line trim looks like, this black trim. All right, we're going coarse wool. I guess they're just not gonna come out. I think I'm gonna have to just settle for mediocre on this one. Yeah, it's about the best we've got. Normally I would work top down, but I've saved the carbon fiber roof for last. There's a few weird looking spots on it, and it just worked out that now I've got to do this part last. And so, you know, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the full process of correcting it. So I'm gonna have to figure out what works, because the clear on the carbon fiber should be the same clear as the rest of the car. I think it'll react the same, but it may not. And so we're going to assess the situation. And actually it doesn't look too bad, does it? It's just really hard. It's a lot harder to see all the business going on here on a black. See this circle, weird looking. It almost looks like maybe he was using a suction cup, like maybe a bike mount right there. There's a circle. Okay, it's time to get more pro on you here. And just not getting out the scratches the way I'd like. And so I'm gonna go to M101, which is a solvent-based, non-diminishing polish. This is gonna leave quite a bit more haze behind. This will also build up quite a bit more heat. So let's see what we got. Yeah, way better. It's ripping everything out. I'm really nitpicking here. But there's some deeper that just aren't coming out. So I'm just gonna go through and do the rest of the bulk of the roof with M101. Just working through this one step at a time here, knocking out the taillights. So I'd never compounded the taillights. I'm just finish polishing them. And the 3-inch really does well for this. This is Sonex Perfect Finish. Yellow pad. Oh shoot. Let's check them out here. Gosh, this stuff comes off like a dream. So roof is done, trunk is done, hood is done, and now I get to work on the sides, which is just so much better now. It used to be such a miserable experience, but now being on the lift. Now, the contours of this part of the car, maybe this, not this here, aren't as conducive to the big 7-inch pad. So I'm gonna go triple action, pneumatic, yellow pad, perfect finish, 5-inch. Instead of the 6-inch pad, 6-inch pad and backing plate I was using. So I grabbed some M101 again. I'm trying to get in here. Get it up in there a little bit. Not till Monday evening. So I'll be here all day on Monday. Yeah, at least I got up in there a little bit. I didn't do jack. Well, that's what we're stuck with. A really clean but scratched up. I don't want to take the door handle off. So here's the plan. Wipe the car down. I like using these lower pile. Red is what I denote as my sealant and wax removal towel. But I'm going to wipe the car down with CarPro Eraser. So I'll probably wipe the front down and wax it, or seal it, I should say, and then work my way back and do each step. Do each panel one section at a time. Okay, so I'm going to leave this lower. Let's do the hood first. So I'm going to spray this down with a pretty ample amount of eraser. I'm going to get the polish oils off of here. So obviously I want to take care, because I just spent half of my waking life over the last however many days dialing this sucker in. Now let's do the fun part. So we don't need a ton of this product. we need a reasonable amount. So let me get a little closer so you can see here. So I'm just gonna, this already has some on it, on the pad. So just put a little bit on like that. That's more than I'll put on the rest of the time, just to kind of get it primed up again. You know, doing more doesn't give you more protection. So this process generally takes me about an hour, maybe an hour and a half per layer. I'm going to go around, wipe down each panel individually, start from the top, work my way down, and go and do the entire surface. Then I'll come back to you, and we'll both wow together at how amazing this stuff comes off. I'd like to leave this by itself, and I've done that before, but it doesn't last very long. So this by itself, without the colonite to top on it, I mean, you get a month if you're lucky. But yeah, it's just amazing. It's so good. So just like normal, I started here, and I worked on the roof and worked all the way around the car. So what we're going to do now is top the polymer sealant with a carnauba-based wax, because this is colonite number 845. This is carnauba-based that has some added polymers, some secret sauce that is semi-solid, semi-liquid. I know lots of people will put a sprayer on here, but I don't see the need to do that. We don't need that much product. So this works. I just kind of squeeze it and put a little bit on the pad like so. This layer goes on even smoother because we have the polymer sealant, the Jescar Power Lock underneath, and the surface is so darn slick that this just goes right on like butter. So I'm going to go through and apply this to the entire car, and then we'll be wiping it off. So as usual, I start here, work my way around, and then when I come back, then I'm able to wipe it off. And because I put a thin layer on, I don't have to beat the crap out of the car to get this stuff off. All right, so I'm gonna take some IPA, I'm gonna dump it on the paper towel here, and I'm gonna avoid the paint if I can help it. And yes, I know IPA can dry out rubber and all of that, but I found that I don't do this very often, but you know, there's tons of dirt and junk that we want to remove. I'm not going to need the sponge for this. It's okay if you get a little bit of this on the paint or the glass. We're just going to wipe the excess away. Pretty much any rubber product or trim product I've ever found needs to be flattened out or leveled out. And so I don't want to buff it all away, but I want to follow and wipe the excess so that it flattens it out. And then it turns your rubber nice and satin black, which is what we all want. I just cheated a little bit, and I decided to do this, because this, a lot of times you almost treat like the outside of the car. And so I'm putting the trim coat on here. It looks amazing. Remove the excess. That looks nice. Okay, let's do some glass here. So dump some IPA. Don't really want to hit my trim, but I need to get cleaned up close to it. Just want to get the glass really clean. And then I'm going to follow with some eraser. And then we're going to apply. And by eraser, I meant window cleaner. So using Griot's window cleaner. So same comment I'll make on this product as with the trim coat. This is good. It's a really good glass coating, but you need to be discerning here. So because this car hasn't been done, I'm going to do 2 coats of this. And so what I generally do is do an initial wipe, which doesn't do a whole heck of a lot, and then I just spritz it with a little bit of glass cleaner. And someone made mention that, well, isn't that going to remove it? It doesn't. So this is the glass cleaning and, I guess, glass treating and trim protecting process that I go through. So that's the process of correcting multi-step probably 25 hours worth of work to get the car to this current status. Thanks for watching the series. Hope it was good for you. It was epic for me to get to correct this car out with all my newest skill sets. And certainly I'm appreciative of you watching. I'm appreciative of the recent channel growth. I hope it keeps going. And as always, stay tuned for more crazy. There's lots more coming. Thanks for watching. What happens when the force pulls you back, your foot naturally comes off the gas. You have to keep your foot to the floor, foot to the floor.